Can someone switch off their mute? Yeah, okay, lovely. Thank you. Okay, so everybody can see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, lovely. Thank you. Let's, okay. So we were at Gemini. I know there was, I think we got stuck with Gemini for some reason. So as we all know that Gemini is got, it's sort of like a Dvishwa Bhava sign. It's dual sign. And in Vedic, it refers to the third house in the Naisargika, or by the Kal Purusha. Naisargika is like the natural zodiac. So that is like ordinarily, if we put the zodiac signs, the Rashis by in their sequence, their natural sequence, so they all fall in the natural houses. So the third house, which is a Gemini, the Mithuna Bhava, and it has to do with procreation and and its copulation. It's also where the mind, the third house is also where the mind is formed. We will come much more to the houses, because I want to at the end of this, I want to finish this and come to at least today touch upon the lagna, the signification of the ascendant and what it means, because it's quite different to the Western view. So here we see that that we can see that here, um, it, the Gemini sign takes Ardra and Punarvasu. They're the two main signs, as well as Mrigashira. So they are the three nakshatras it takes over. Yeah, can everybody see this? um, and it's also, of course, it rules cities. So often you find that people who are Gemini rising, they love being in cities. They will find themselves always wanting to live in the center of town, or if not center, then at least in sort of in thickly populated cities. So and that's important because even in Prashna or in Hora chart, we will often, when this sign comes up strong, almost always these people will, these kind of cities will be sort of comes out prominent. And it is the exaltation sign of Rahu. So that's very significant. Let's go to the next sign, Cancer, which is Karka, which is the fourth in the natural house. It's the fourth one. It's to do with cures and healing, because the greatest of cures, for example, if you do like a horary chart, which is nothing but the Prashna chart, and if your seventh house or the fourth house or even the rising sign comes as Cancer, especially if it is like Punarvasu or Pushya, then there's a very high chance that if it is connected with a disease of some in question, that you will find the cure. So the Cancer sign has a lot to do with cures and healing powers. The Ganesh mantra associated with it is Gajavakraye Hum. And so, if you have the Cancer sign quite significant in your chart, if you're a rising or if you have a preponderance of planets in Cancer sign, then Gajavakraye Hum is your, a Ganesh mantra to remove the obstacles. And often the sign is very strong in the night. It's Brahmin by caste. It's like a centipede. So often we classify signs, which I'm not going to do today, but we'll do it next time. Each of the signs are either like dual, like because they are like two, that means it's two-legged, or it is sort of many feet. And that has a lot of significance, because it depends on your rising sign. If your some signs are very positive, like for example, if you're a Gemini rising, it's a human sign because it's got 2 feet. So it's biped sign. If we see this here, it's a biped sign, and it's night strong. So biped means it's got 2 feet. You can see two here. So that is lends itself very well as a rising sign, for human beings, obviously. And uh, and some signs lends itself very well in the seventh house. Some signs lend itself brilliantly in the 10th house. We will come to that. So this sign is very conducive for the seventh house. Cancer is also pale colored, and it resorts to forests. It has many feet, bulky body. It is a sattvic sign because the moon is the ruler, and it is watery and big. These typically people who are cancer rising, they tend to have like big heavy bodies. It rises with its back and is ruled by the moon. We've already seen that. And these are the three very interesting and important nakshatras that it covers: Punarvasu, Pushya, and Ashlesha. Out of this, Punarvasu is a very, a positive nakshatra, because this is the nakshatra, the birth moon sign of Lord Rama. Punarvasu, it's like has got a very positive signification in that it becomes bright again. It is a very nurturing nakshatra. It's Aditi is its Punarvasu's deity is Aditi, who's the mother of all gods. So there's a very strong association, Punarvasu with Cancer and Punarvasu. And Pushya is also very, very strong. Its ruler, its rule is by Saturn, one of the rulers, the nakshatra rulers. But it's actually, as we know, it falls entirely in the sign of Cancer, as we can see. And Ashlesha is a little bit dire in terms of its signification, because it expands from 16 degrees Cancer and 0 degrees Leo. The end signs of Cancer and the beginning of Leo is a little bit it's called the Gandanta. That means it's a karmic knot. Planets situated in these degrees are very karmic. They are very, what's the word? They have a very heavy karma to bear, and it can be quite negative, because Ashlesha is often, it's a sign, it's a nakshatra associated with the serpents. The serpent energy is very strong. Rahu is extremely active in these signs. So that is something you have to bear in mind, and you got to notice it, because like I said, Gandanta is the last 4 degrees to 5-6 degrees of Cancer and the first few degrees of Leo. And these become extremely sensitive degrees, because any time in that particular nakshatra, when it is about to leave this water sign, and it's going into the fire sign, like 0 degrees Leo is like fire sign, and the last degrees of Cancer is all very strong water. They are called something known as Gandanta. That is, it's a karmic, it's like a knot that has to be resolved this lifetime. So that's why there is a very strong, this is a very vital sign, Cancer. And often we say that Ashlesha, especially planets here, there's a lot of suffering associated. Sometimes we do need the remedy if you have planets in Gandanta. So please take notice, please check up your charts, and let let me know. We love to hear more about them. Then we come to the next sign, Simha, which is a sign of Leo. Right. Now, Simha is to do with, the mantra for it is Namo Hum, and it is sattvic in disposition, lauded by sun, of course. It's 4-footed. Remember what I said, it's got 4 feet. Well, we know that. And Brahmin by caste, Kshatriya, martial race. So that means it's temperamentally, it is martial, because it is all fire signs are kshatriya. Kshatriya is somebody who is of strong fighting ability and martial in its nature. And pale hue rises in the east, strong in the day, controlling and territorial. And it is a quadruple sign and a royal sign. It resorts to forests and rises with its head. It has a large white body. And as I said, again, here we notice that part of this, Leo, it's Ashlesha also falls in Leo, and so again, these are very sensitive. 0 degrees Leo, 29 degrees Leo, again, are extremely sensitive points. Now, the thing with Leo is they are, of course, territorial, and it is a day strong sign. And ideally you want the sign of Leo in your 10th house. So basically it's very positive for Scorpio rising people, because the thing is with the 10th is that you have a lot of energy, there's a lot of fire and energy to do things, because the 10th house is what you are going to do. It's your big calling, what you will leave behind in the world. It's one of the highest cardinal houses. So that's why as the sign of Leo does very well in the 10th house. So so that is the ethos behind having a quadruped sign in the 10th house, and of course it is up till a point the royal sign. I would not attribute Leo, as I said, ideally, and in the from the Vedic tradition I follow, Aries is the real royal sign. Of course there is up till a point Leo is the sign, but the real sign is Aries. It resorts to forests and rises with its head. It has a large white body. We went through that. So that's the sign of Leo. The mantra is Hom Lambo Darai Hum. Sorry, that was the. Then we come to the Virgo. The sign of Virgo is extremely to do with purity. It's called Kanya or Kumari. Both of these are Sanskrit names for the sign of Virgo. I would encourage you to use more. Usually they say Kanya, it's a commonly used word, but Kumari in Sanskrit means nothing but a young girl, something who's like unmarried, young, very pure and pristine. So the signification of cleanliness, perfection symbol is very much similar to the Western symbolism which is associated with Virgo. No doubt about that. And the lady is sitting on a boat without oars, holding corn on one side and holding a lamp with the other. Now, there is a very significant nakshatra in the sign of Virgo. So that's why the lamp and the corn becomes very strong symbolism for Kanya, the Rashi of Kanya. And I will come to that because it is associated with, it expands, 3 nakshatras expand into Virgo. One is Uttara Falguni, other one is Hasta, and then is Chitra. These 3 nakshatras expand, take over Virgo, and the Hasta nakshatra is the main nakshatra. It's the Gayatri, is the giver of Gayatri. It's where the sun is very, very powerful. It's the birth of the sun. It's very strong, the sun in Hasta, because the deity of Hasta is Savitur, who's the giver of all light. Remember when we did the Gayatri mantra right at the beginning, I talked about the Savitur, the sun god, and that is associated with Hasta. And that is the reason why the sign of Virgo is very strongly affiliated with light and holding corn on one side. Of course, there is farming, farmlands, beautiful laid back fields is also part of the Virgo, sort of etymology. It has its other ruler, Rahu. Now, so it's not just Mercury that it's the ruler, but it's also Rahu. Now, Rahu has its own office, or Mool Trikona, it's called. The term office is literally it's its office. That is, it's not as home, it is office, which is Mool Trikona. So Virgo is the Mool Trikona or office of Rahu, and it is a strong in daytime. The sign of Virgo is strong in daytime, rises with head, medium build. It is a biped sign, so it's a dual sign again, with like two biped, and resides in the south. It has grains and fire in its hands. It belongs to business community and is variegated. It relates to hurricanes and is a virgin and is tamas or disposition of demons. So it's probably, by and large, all dual signs are sattvic. Now you may well ask me, well, you just said last time that, oh, all dual signs are sattvic. Now how is it that Virgo has tamas disposition? Now I'm saying it's not entirely, you know it's the rulers do color the sign, so it is a little bit complex. But as you get familiar with the rulerships and the lordships and the Mool Trikona, whose office it is, you will soon find that there are some signs which are super pure, some are very sattvic, yet there are some complexities. Like for example, and I'll show you this, like for Leo, even though it is a sattvic sign, but yet think of the king. He still has to go into battle. He still has to go into kind of all the drama that happens to retain the throne. He still has to take the step to overcome, to protect his kingdom, and in order to protect his kingdom, he still needs to go and fight and kill and wage wars. So that, then it transpires that the sign then goes into tamas mode. Tamas is kind of like ignorant, and it will kill, and that kind of, so it gets into that a darker mode. That is a tamas mode, so that is also associated with Leo. So it, like I said, some disposition there is, you have to take into account the sign has its own disposition, as well as the planet it rules. So it's a dual thing, you have to judge. It's a little bit of a complex thing, but you have to sort of see the intricacies of it. Now, as I already mentioned about the Hasta, the signification of Hasta. Now, Chitra is a very beautiful constellation. It is the giver of the sidereal zodiac. Please to note, Chitra falls in 23 degrees Virgo and 6 degrees Libra. There is also a special Gandanta point or a karmic point here, but that's like beyond discussion right now. Let's just focus on the other Gandantas between water sign going into fire sign. So, but Chitra, the nakshatra of Chitra, the deity associated is Vishwakarma, who's the world's great celestial architect. And of course, then the zodiac and everything to do with the sidereal zodiac and the system in place falls with Chitra. And we also, the Ayanamsha we use is Chitra Paksh. It comes from Chitra, which is from Virgo. So you have to, so this is a very important sign, Virgo. Virgo sign is also associated often with wars. There is war for the territory, because part of the reason is because Rahu is territorial. It's to do with boundaries. Rahu and Ketu both are to do with boundaries, and that's why Rahu, because Virgo is a Mool Trikona of Rahu, office of Rahu. So that's why there is also a strong association with wars and death and things like that. Okay. So let's move forward. We come to Libra. Now, Libra is Tula. And Vignarajai Hum is the Ganesh mantra for it. Vignarajai Hum, and it rises with head strong in the day, rises in the west, Rajaguna, that is, it is Rajas Guna, and it's violent in temperament. I think you have to take this with a little bit of pinch of salt, and we will come to that because it mirrors the opposite. People who are Libra rising, everybody thinks like, oh, it's beautiful, ruled by Venus, it's gorgeous, everything is fantastic, but actually the Libra people are more deadly fighters than Aries people, or for that matter even Mars rule like Scorpio. So don't be fooled by the beauty and the oh, it's like a beautiful, Venus is a placid a planet because its ruler is kind of the beautiful Venus. No, it's not just about beauty. Shukra in Shukracharya in the Vedic is to do with longevity, and it's to do with breath, and it's a very strong in its Agni Tattva. As in, I know it is Venus is Jala Tattva, but the thing is, the Venus Shukracharya is the giver of light and giver of the Mahamrutyunjay mantra, which is to do with longevity and killing off of the diseases. So Libra has very strong associations with that. Libra also has very strong associations with the marketplace. In Vedic, it rules markets, businesses, commercial dealings of all kinds, exports, imports, tradings, everything. It's everything to do with business associations. And of course, marriage and, falls under that, because it is end of the day, we are making also a association of kind, in kind, is whether it's intimate association or there is some amount of business cropping in, some amount of social businesses cropping in into the sign, into a marriage association. So that all comes under the domain of Libra and Tula. And the mantra is Vignarajai Hum, to remove the obstacles. And again, it rules Chitra, as I said, part of Chitra, and Swati and Vishakha, part of Vishakha. So Swati falls entirely, which is the nakshatra ruler is Rahu, and Chitra's nakshatra ruler is Mars. So if you notice that all these three rulers which fall in Libra, both of these, two of these out of the three rulers are, kind of tamasic, or kind of very, aggressive and cruder, or a little bit violent, and a little bit sort of cruel. So you have to, so that also the nakshatras lends its quality to the sign as well. That is a very important thing, and that is the reason why I've put up the nakshatras, it spans. So far so good. Any questions? No? Okay. So then we come to Scorpio, Ali. Another name, it's got two names, Ali. The old Vedic name, Sanskrit name is Ali, and the other one is Vrishchika. I would encourage you guys to use the names, the Vedic names, that will help a lot. And it's called, the Ganesh mantra associated with it is Dhumravarnai Hum. And now, because we are having this eclipse, and guess what? The south node of the moon, or Ketu, is actually its home in Scorpio for the next 1.5 years. So this mantra, if you are having it on your planets, on your sun or moon or rising sign, or anywhere, the south node of the moon, transiting south node of the moon, this is the mantra that will get you and keep you in balance. Otherwise, you will completely lose your head. Dhumravarnai Hum, that's the mantra for it. And the direction is north, strong in day. It's centipede, that means it's got multiple legs, as you can see. And it's multi-footed, reddish brown, residence is, it resides both on land and water. Hairy, sharp, we all know it's sharpness and poisonous. It's, of course, it rules poisons, and it is the natural eighth house. And Ketu is the ruler. Ketu and Mars are the joint ruler of Scorpio. A lot like Western, where Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. Here we have Ketu and Mars. It is said, who needs Pluto when you have Ketu? And and that is indeed true. So Ketu is a very, the association of Ketu is it's 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 a to do with like army, people who are headless, people who will just follow. So there are many levels and many layers of the sign Ketu and what is represented by Ketu. There are these bhikshuk, or like these sadhus who are kind of smoking, they have given up the world, they've kind of forsaken everything, family, they are trying to move towards moksha or enlightenment, and they want to get rid of all their worldly possessions, all their worldly attachments, everything. That is, Ketu rules that. They are wanderers. They go from temple to temple in the Himalayas. They literally are like the wandering monks. They are also, Ketu rules them as well. Ketu also rules the army, where you have like tons of soldiers. They don't need to think. A soldier never needs to think. He has to just march on, follow the orders, and march on. So that sort of mentality, that sort of mindset, Ketu rules. So basically, it's like the headlessness. You're not meant to have. If you see the the in the myth I already discussed, the Ketu is uh, there's no head for Ketu. It's the body of the snake, the serpent. There is no head. So the Ketu is totally headless, and the reason for it is that once you, the main thing human beings have to overcome is their head. All that those millions of voices in your head, the in um, unstoppable voices, the thought processes that keep going, that are absolutely debilitating. Once we get rid of all that, that is like we are totally headless. There is no thought. We are able to move beyond thought, and that is the signification of Ketu. Because it rules moksha. It's the, in Vedic we call it the moksha karaka. Karaka is the doer or the significator, and Ketu is and moksha is somebody who will liberate you from the endless cycle of birth and rebirth. So that is what Ketu rules. And so Ketu is a very strong moksha karaka, and Mars is the other ruler. So Scorpio, and as we see, as we just saw that Virgo also has got two rulers, Mercury and Rahu, and Scorpio's got two rulers, Ketu and Mars, and as well as Taurus has also got two rulers, Moon and Venus. So again, as I go forward, I will tell you about the two rulers, because it's very important when we do chart analysis and reading a chart, because Scorpio Lagna or Scorpio rising people, we will consider both the rulers. There will always be one ruler which will be stronger and more significant than the other. So but that is an assessment we have to make. But it will always pose a problem, because Scorpio Lagnas, Virgo Lagnas, dual rulership rising signs will always run into this kind of issue. That, oh my God, you'll be always toing and froing and seesawing between the two rulers. Yeah. So, and it encompasses Vishakha, Anuradha, and Jeshta. Now we come to Jeshta, which is again a Gandanta Nakshatra. That means it is from Scorpio, the last degrees of Scorpio, to Sagittarius. is Jyeshtha. That means it's Sagittarius is fire sign, and n degrees of Scorpio is the Gandanta point. So basically Scorpio again is got diabolical significations because of this reason, because it also houses Jyeshtha, which is a Gandanta nakshatra, as we can call it. That means it's a very karmic nakshatra. So planets in Jyeshtha there is, especially if they are in the n degrees of Scorpio or 1 degree of Sagittarius, it's a problem. Yeah, it's not going to be, karmically there is a lot to be said with these, with planets here or the rising sign here. It's a constant, it's a lifetime of struggle. So that is what the so it's a Gandanta nakshatra. um yeah, so off we go. These are some of the sounds associated with it, and you can read that in the document. So then we come to Sagittarius, which is Dhanu. It rises with its back, it's biped. Again, you can see it's biped. Now you may well say, oh, it's got four things, but that has a little less to do with it, but it is biped up till 15 degrees and quadruped after. So that is a few distinctions you have to remember, because this is going to be very significant in analysis. We will do this about signs which are biped, quadruped, and what is the significations of it. We will come to that. Okay, but that is not for this time. This time I'm just introducing a few things. He bears a bow and arrow and wanders the earth, and the Lord Brahma making it look splendorous. So basically, it has the head of a human head, and the body a little bit like Chiron in the ancient myth. So Sagittarius exaltation sign, Ketu exalts in Sagittarius. Sagittarius in the natural zodiac is the ninth house. So the ninth house is the house of dharma, is the house of religion or religious activities, father figures, mentors, and your gurus. That is the house it rules naturally. And now there's another significant associations with Sagittarius. It is a sign when death and complete destruction of humanity will happen in this sign, because the sign of Purva Ashada is rules that complete destruction, as well as Mula. Mula is also to do with root, um, root, and it's a Gandanta nakshatra, and it's Mula in Sanskrit means root. That means getting to the root of things, and its ruler is Ketu, the south node of the moon. And so the sign Sagittarius, if you read the great Indian epic Mahabharata, Mahabharat association, the war happened. There was a great war that happened between five brothers who are called the Pandavas, and 100 horrible, evil cousins, and they they fought a war where Lord Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas, and the whole war happened on the banks or on the grounds of Kurukshetra. And so that Kurukshetra, that is associated, the whole war is associated with the sign Sagittarius. Hence the sign of Sagittarius is very much to do with war and destruction, and fight for religion, and fight for dharma, the righteous path. That is what the associations of Sagittarius is. Its ruler is, of course, only a single ruler, Jupiter, and it's Jupiter's own sign, and so that is a very important one. You have to bear in mind. And south node of the moon, Ketu exalts in this sign. So that means Ketu in the ninth house of the zodiac does it's very well. That's its exaltation sign. um, and these are the three nakshatras it spans. So again, Sagittarius is not has a very different signification compared to its other, because Jupiter rules Pisces as well, so it has a very different connotation to that. So any questions so far? No? Okay. Then we come to Capricorn, Nakra. The mantra for this is Hom Nakrai Namaha. The end of it, I will go through all the, these are the Ganesh mantras, and actually there is mantra, simple mantra, Hom Nakrai Namaha, Hom Dhanushai Namaha. These are the Rashi mantras as well, which is good to know. Now, the Nakra, the celestial beast, it's a crocodile, but it is called Makara, and this is the vehicle for Mahalakshmi. It is a vehicle for Ganges, and it has associations with Varun, the god Varun. So that is who presides over water. So you may well say, well, how is it different? This crocodile is a celestial creature, but it is a very very tamasic. As you can see, often different cultures, like it's like a gargoyle, it's got a head of something, like a whole like a pig, and there's many kind of significations associated with it. And it's a deadly fighter. It rules cemeteries, because it is lorded by Saturn. it it's happiest when there is a lot of death count. There's a cemeteries are getting flooded up, you know and guess what, where are we? you know since January this year, Saturn went into the sign of Capricorn, and now Jupiter has gone into Sagittarius for a few months, retrograded back, and it's going to come back into Capricorn. And there's going to be a great conjunction of Jupiter Saturn in on December December 21st. And that, again, the sign of Capricorn is going to be significant, even though Saturn is at home. It's in its own sign in Capricorn. It's called, the term used in Vedic is called Swakshetra. Swa is own, and Kshetra is my home, like place. So so Saturn is in Swakshetra in Capricorn. That means it's at home in Capricorn. It is its own home. And it's got a huge body, wanders on land and forest, quadruped, first half 15 degrees, and is footless. I'll have to figure what is the first half of 15 degrees is, I think, quadruped, and the other footless, last half, and it glides over water. So because it's a creature of both land and water, and it encompasses three signs: Uttara, Ashada, Shravana, and Dhanishta. That Dhanishta is a very strong nakshatra, and Shravana is to do with listening, and Uttara Ashada is ruled by the sun, and it is also to do with kind of very strong associations with war and winning, and especially winning, and victory. Later victory is one of its little significations. So this sign, Capricorn, has got a really bad rep in Vedic. Now you may well say, well, what's the beauty of it? The beauty is that it is steadfast. If you're a Capricorn rising, you have the patience, or if you have moon there even, or planets there, you will wait an eternity. You have that power to be able to you know, the what they say, the term, you will see your dead bodies floating, literally. You know, you will watch the dead bodies floating. That is that expression probably originated in Nakra or Capricorn, because the association of, you know, Saturn's association with the cemetery or the graveyard is very, very strong in this sign. And that's why Kali, goddess Kali, any afflictions to this sign or with Saturn in your chart, we have to appease to Kali. So you know, so bear in mind. And right now, Rahu and Ketu as well as Saturn, three malefics are aspecting this sign. Even though Saturn is at in its own home sign, it's very, it's not an easy one. And we can see worldwide there's a death count going up and up, you know. um, so yeah, so now we know why. It's to do with the graveyard and the sign of Capricorn. But bear in mind that because Jupiter has got involved in December 21st, you know, and it'll be there till March. um, it's everything to do with our, how we, you know, material world, possessions. Because in the natural scheme of things, you know, if you see the Naisargika, the zodiac, the 10th house is where Capricorn rests on. So the 10th house, you know, is basically all about achievement, structures, and, you know, it's a very hardy earth sign. So everything that we are going towards, we are building towards something very concrete, very sustainable. So right now we are feeling the pinch in every single way. All the negativity of the sign of Capricorn is being is kind of, we can feel the, you know, the brunt of it. But essentially we have to look at the bigger picture and what it's asking us out of us, and it's asking us to transform the whole sign of Capricorn, our attitudes towards our, you know, the material thing, our 10th house, you know. More and more people will sort of change their, you know, go more into natural, take care more of their diets, and, you know, how, what sustains them, what can they do to sustain themselves in a holistic manner. All that will be under review in this sign, because it is, end of the day, it is a very strong earth sign. But it's like you have to break a few eggs for making an omelette kind of scenario. So we can feel that with the COVID situation, with the dead piling up, or the people who are unwell piling up. So yeah, so this has a strong connotations with that. Okay, so far so good. Any questions?
A quick question. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction will take place in the Uttara Ashada?
Hang on. I'll have to check. I think so. I think
because I think, didn't Jupiter just enter Capricorn?
Yes, you're right.
So it's the very beginning.
Yeah.
So what is the significance of that?
We'll discuss that, you know, when we do the eclipse thing on
Okay.
the November thing. But yeah, the signification is, it's the Uttara Ashada is a very, it's a beautiful constellation. It's ruled by the sun, you know. I will have to check the degrees of that. But like I said, the main thing is that we will have to change our entire perspective on how we sustain ourselves, and structures, you know, governments, whether it's governments or world structures and all that. You know, all that will change. And also I think this is beyond the discussion right now, we need to move forward. But yeah, it's a good question. I will tackle it when we do you know, 30th of November, when we do a mini session on eclipses. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So then we come to Kumbha, which is Aquarius, and it's got medium body, biped, strong in day, resides in deep waters, element air. Lord of the western direction. All the air signs rule the western direction, lorded by Saturn and Rahu. Now again, Saturn is its mool trikona. Mool trikona means um, its office, and Rahu is its swakshetra. That means its home of Aquarius. It's completely at home. And as you can see, it has a pretty much similar kind of water pot is a big theme in the sign of Kumbha. The water pot has also is associated with Shatabhishach nakshatra. It's the knowledge and water flowing. If moon in Shatabhishak is very, very strong here, extremely strong. And as we see, it aspects it aspects the sign Cancer, because remember I told you that it's not just the planets in Vedic that aspect, the signs also aspect. So all the rashis have their own aspects as well. So that's a very important classification you have to say. Shravishta or Dhanishta is from Capricorn, 23 degrees Capricorn to 6 degrees Aquarius, ruled by Mars. Dhanishta is to do with wealth creation. It's a very fierce one because again, it's Mars. Again, Aquarius, as we saw like last time, here. The sign of Capricorn is Sun, Moon, and Mars. So here it's not so bad, but I can tell you that in the divisional chart, the D9, the Navamsh chart, if you have planets in Capricorn or Aquarius, it's an alarm bell, because these signs are very fierce. They are very difficult signs. You have to overcome a lot of difficulty, and because they are so difficult, there's a lot of suffering associated with these signs, especially if they are in your Navamsh, that is your ninth divisional chart, which we always see along with the Rashi chart, that is your natal chart. So that you have to bear in mind. And Aquarius rising people, always we see both the rulers. Never ever just take one ruler. You will go completely wrong in your analysis. You have to take both rulers, just like for Virgo rising people, you have to take Rahu, because Rahu is its mool trikona sign in Virgo. Here it is in Aquarius, it is Swakshetra, that means it's in its own home, and Saturn is Mool Trikona, that means it's Saturn's office here in Aquarius. So you have to take both the rulers, and of course there will be a bit of tiff, who's the stronger one? They both will want to be the ruler, and whoever is not so strong or not so well placed will lose out, and he will get a little bit angry. That's inevitable, but that is a karma that these signs have to bear when you're born. It's part of their karmic script anyway. So and Shatabhishak again has got associations with water pot, very, very strong associations with that. Then we come to the Pisces or Meena, which is this last sign and one of the most beautiful sign. It's the 12th house. I wanted to mention one thing here. There are signs of Rahu are very, very difficult. Aquarius is like like in the natural thing, it's the 11th house. 11th house, unlike the western, and I will discuss more once we start all the houses when I go through, and you will very quickly realize that what you were feeling absolutely happy about planets in the 11th house, you will be like wanting to get rid of them, you know, because planets in the 11th house are very, very challenging. They will beat you up to pulp, literally, in every sense of the word. So please, please bear that in mind. It is not the best of placements, any planet. There's only one, the luminary sun in 11th house does remarkably well, but everything else is really difficult, and we will tackle that again when we do each of the houses. Now the 12th one, Pisces, it's like the natural 12th house, and the mantra the associated is Gajananai Hum, and it's day strong, fishes going in both directions, upward and downward. Basically, this shows like a karmic situation where, you know, both the fishes are trying to get away from the material plane, and they are kind of, it's like a moksha. They are on a path towards moksha, you know. So that has a very, this sign is a beautiful sign. Planets here are a blessing. So if you have planets, Venus in Pisces, which is its exaltation, or if you have any planets here, well, of course, barring Mercury, because it's the sign of its debilitation, um, will do very well. They are literally blessings from heaven if you have planets here. And as I said, Mercury, but up till a point. If it is a Mercury retrograde, then, you know, probably not so bad. So then we have, it's day strong, it's down, like I said, it goes in the downward. They are always depicted by one fish going, trying to move upward towards higher planes, higher levels of consciousness, higher spirituality. And there's another, it's a double-edged sword, the other one going down, you know, deep into the material plane. Um, and it's sattvic guna. The Brahmin varna is Brahmin. That means it's to do with knowledge, anything to do with ancient knowledge, Vedic scriptures, anything old and absolutely sacred, and is all under the domain of Pisces. Footless and rises with both back and head. It is probably the only sign that rises with both head, back and head. Remember what I said about rising back and head. When you're in the transit, let's say you have let's say you have moon in Pisces, and you're in your moon dasha, a planetary period, then you will get results of both, throughout the dasha. You will get results of it. If you have Venus in Pisces, of course it's in its exaltation, but you will be getting the results of it all throughout those 20 years of Vimshotri dasha. So you have to bear that in mind. That's what it means. It rises with both back and head. And this is, remember I told you, it's very important. You will want to know it, because you will want to figure out, what dasha you are in. We are going to do that exercise, next time. So it encompasses Purva Bhadra, Uttara Bhadrapad, and Revati. Now again, the last nakshatra is the last nakshatra, and it's a Gandanta point before it jumps into Aries, which is a fire sign. So what did I say? That there are three main Gandanta points. Remember I said that Revati to Ashwini, that is the first one, which is a very, very strong, very karmic. Revati is all about endings, and the other one is from Cancer to Leo, and then the third one is from Scorpio to Sagittarius. So these are the three big Gandanta nakshatras or signs which you have to be very careful of. If you have planets there, please draw your chart, hand draw it, and put in the degrees and let me know, because we can discuss it then. So any questions? Hello? No?
Hello.
No? Okay. So we have a few more minutes. I will quickly go through. This is a really interesting one. Mesha, Vrishabha, and Simha. That is Aries, Taurus, and Leo are blind at the dead of the night. That means during the night they are completely, they can't see, these signs can't see very well. Cancer, Mithuna, Gemini, and Kanya, Virgo are blind at midday. So around noon time, they are completely blind. Libra and Scorpio are deaf in the afternoon. And Dhanu, that is Tula is Libra and Scorpio, Vrishchika. And Dhanu and Makara are so in the afternoon. So even they are, forenoon is before, sorry, before noon, Libra and Scorpio are deaf, and Sagittarius and Capricorn are deaf in the afternoon. The deer-faced and bow-bearing signs, Makar and Dhanu, that is, Makar is, Capricorn, and Sagittarius are lame and become fatal in the two periods of twilight. Um, Twilight, we know, dusk and dawn, yes? The concluding portion of the signs Kataka, Vrishchika, and Meena is called Riksha Sandhi. Remember what I told you about the signs? These are all water signs. Kataka is Cancer. It's about to go into Leo. Scorpio is a water sign at the end of Scorpio, about to go into Sagittarius, and Pisces about to go into Aries. They are called the Riksha Sandhi and is well known as Pragnagandanta, at the end of the elbow, vulnerable part. It's a critical period. I already showed you the nakshatras that they are in. We already went through this. So they are very, very important. So please, if you have a rising sign there, please have a look and we can discuss. Okay, any more questions? No?
No?
Okay, so the Aries, now this is a little ready reckoner for you guys. The Aries sign, its office is, that is its Mool Trikona, is Mars has its Mool Trikona in Aries, and the exaltation, Aries sun is its exaltation in Aries. We'll do the degrees next time. I will give you next time the degrees. Venus's Swakshetra is Taurus, that is, its home is Taurus, its Mool Trikona and the exaltation is Taurus for the moon, right? And it is the Ayush Rahu, that is, when I say Ayush, that is Rahu's exaltation sign is also Taurus. So Rahu has got kind of two exaltation signs. One is Ayush Rahu exaltation. That means it really kicks in by the age of 45. That's its natural maturity age. And that is what it means by Ayush, right? Now, the other one is Gemini. Mercury is its own sign. Mercury's own sign, home sign is Mercury is at home in Gemini, and Rahu's exaltation is Gemini. Cancer, the home Swakshetra is Cancer, and Jupiter's exaltation is Cancer. For Leo, the home or Swakshetra is Sun. Leo for the Sun, and the Sun's office is also in Leo. So that is an important one. Actually, it should be exaltation here. Sorry, it's office Mool Trikona. Yeah, that's fine. So the Virgo is the sign of Virgo has got like two rulers, Mercury and Rahu, and both of them have their Mool Trikona, that is their home, their office, sorry, in Virgo. And the exaltation of Mercury is also in Virgo, and please note, not in Gemini. So the home of Gemini is Mercury is at home in Gemini, but it is in its office and exaltation in Virgo. And Rahu is in its office in Virgo. Libra is in its Mool Trikona, that is, it's in its home, it's in its office in Libra, and its exaltation is Saturn. Scorpio, its home is Mars and Ketu. You know, Mars and Ketu are totally at home in Scorpio. So right now, at the moment, over the next 1.5 years, Ketu is in its absolute home. So that's very positive. And Rahu is in its exaltation in Taurus, transiting Rahu. Then we come to Sagittarius. Its Mool Trikona sign is Jupiter, is its Mool Trikona sign, finds itself in Sagittarius, and Ketu is the exaltation of Sagittarius. I put a question mark here, but for all purposes, the tradition that I come from, we do accept Ketu as the exaltation of Sagittarius. You know, Ketu's exaltation is Sagittarius. And same way, Saturn's Swakshetra or home is Capricorn, and Mars' exaltation is in Capricorn. Rahu's home or Swakshetra is Aquarius, and Saturn's office or Mool Trikona is Aquarius. We went through that. And Jupiter's home is in Pisces, and Ketu's office or Mool Trikona is in Pisces, and Venus's exaltation is in Pisces. So you have to remember this. There is no way out. Next week I'll give you the degrees as well, or I can just put them, attach them to the document. So far, so good?
A quick
Yes.
question.
Yes, go on.
In the first column, the home column,
Yeah.
the blank spaces, are they just left blank like Aries? Isn't Mars also the home ruler of Aries as well
No.
as the,
No.
isn't?
No, Mars does not have its home in Aries. Mars has his home in Scorpio. Mars feels very much at home in Scorpio. You know, Mars and Ketu are nothing but the Kartikeya and Narsimha. You know, they are like little Ganesh and Kartikeya. Mars's avatar or the deity associated is Kartikeya, who's
But
like,
I guess what was confusing in Western, a planet can rule two signs, a home and two signs, but here the home is only one sign for each planet.
yes, of course, but that is, you can have only one home. Actually, you can't have
Okay, that was what was confusing, because the planets can have two homes in Western system.
Yeah, but that's Western. Here we are very clear about, each planet has only one home and an office. But I mean, a lot of planets can have the same home. So that's what I was coming to. Mars and Ketu are brothers, and they fight like cats and dogs. Ketu is Ganesh and the deity associated, and Mars is Kartikeya. And they are constantly fighting with each other. And there are lots of stories where at some point Mars won, at some point Ketu won. So, so that's why. And so both of them, their home is in Scorpio.
Right, but it's only Scorpio, no other sign.
No.
Okay.
Mars is not, there's no other home for Mars. And for Ketu also, there is no other home for Ketu. This is, Ketu's office is Pisces. So it conducts its business, So so planets here in the office or Mool Trikona, they're not very, they're very clinical about it. They're not kind of like super excited. They don't feel very comfortable. They're kind of like, okay, we have a job to do. We are here to do a job. So that's why if you have, let's say, think of people with Jupiter in Sagittarius and think of people with Jupiter and Pisces. It's the tradition that I come from. We consider Jupiter and Pisces, it's got an emotional attachment, it's beautiful. But Jupiter in Sagittarius is not beautiful, it's not emotional, it's militant. It's there to do a job, it's there to protect the dharma, protect the religion, protect the gurus. It's on a war path, it's fire. It's there to let's get stuff done. Let's launch, let's get, it goes after knowledge with a vengeance. But it's kind of like a very, it's a very clinical, very official mode of Jupiter. But in Jupiter in Pisces is super compassionate. It's emotional. It's a water sign. It's a different flavor altogether, and you will know the difference instantly. Yes. Anyone wants to say something? Hello? No. Okay. We are.
Ma'am, can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask the question, ma'am?
Yeah. Go on.
So then, who's the Rashi Lord of this Aries?
Mars.
Yeah, so Mars is the Rashi Lord, not the home.
Yeah.
Not
Mars.
Swakshestrin.
Yeah, that's correct. Mars is a Mool Trikona in Aries. Okay.
Not Swakshestrin Aries.
No. Swakshetra is Mars. For Mars, Swakshetra is Scorpio, not Aries. Okay.
Okay, right. Thank you.
We need to end now. Is any questions? Please feel free to put it in the chat on the Telegram group. Not a problem. And we have, like I said, Lucian and a general discussion going on in the second half. I think it's like an open discussion. You guys are welcome to join. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But anyway. But listen, guys, please support. Please support the December 4 to 6. Put it down in your diary. And even if you can do 2 days, great. There's a package deal for, I think, 96. It's very reasonable. All 3 days, 96 pounds or something. And so, yeah, there's something for everyone. It includes all recordings, everything. So
are you posting that in your group, Sonal?
I will.
Right.
Thank you very much. And please, if you guys have any questions, put them in the Telegram or Facebook thing, and I will definitely, answer them. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
See you
so
next
much.
time, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anthony.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guru Sharma.